After experiencing the presence of international forces, including the United Nations, Mali quickly understood the limitations of this type of intervention, which in some cases also reinforced dependency and did not address the situation in the sense that it did not provide Malians and the Malian state with the capacity to ensure security. The Malian state has embarked on a paradigm shift, meaning that the security of Malians must now be in the hands of Malians themselves.
And what is the current state of this security? How would you describe it at present?
Overall, we believe that security is improving in Mali. During the presence of international forces, Mali controlled no more than 40% of its national territory. Today, Mali has control over its entire national territory. The army and the defense and the security forces, even with fewer resources, are on the offensive in the fight against terrorism. Many successes have been achieved. Several terrorists have been neutralized. Some have surrendered. And today we see that in many areas, displaced people and others are beginning to return to their homes. However, the security challenge is a long-term one. And even terrorism is something that Mali cannot defeat alone. But for that, of course, Mali remains open.
Also for partners? Sorry, so you remain open?
Mali remains open. Mali has stated that there are just 3 principles that are important for these partnership relations. The first is that any partnership must respect Mali's sovereignty. The second point is that our partners must respect Mali's sovereign choices and the choice of partners made by Mali. And finally, they must take into account the interests of the Malian people. If these principles are observed, Mali is not close to any country, any partner, especially Germany, which was the first country to establish diplomatic relations with Mali and with whom we wish to maintain and even strengthen relations in all areas today. On a bilateral level. Nothing prevents Mali from continuing to work with Germany despite certain difficulties related to the geopolitical environment.
Because some believe that you are pursuing a policy of isolationism that is weighing on the country. How do you respond to that?
I think it's a matter of perception, it's a matter of narrative. There are certain former partners of Mali who are doing everything they can to try to isolate our country because of choices we've made that do not suit them. Because Mali has decided to take charge of its own affairs and to ensure that we are respected and that our sovereignty is respected. But this does not discourage us because the choice Mali has made is to ensure our security, to control our territory, and for the well-being of our people, and we will continue to pursue these objectives. What we ask of everyone is that our relationships be based on respect and that any partnership must be a win-win partnership for us, not one that seeks to impose policies of domination or subjugation on our country. And indeed, it is these policies, our choices, that lead certain partners who have not yet understood the changes taking place in Africa to try to isolate us. But as I have said, we are not isolated. We have created the Confederation of Sahel States with Burkina Faso and Niger. We are working with countries in the region, including by maintaining a constructive dialogue with ECOWAS, which we have left. Today, we are in Berlin to be able to have a constructive engagement with the United Nations, despite our withdrawal from MINUSMA, and with many countries that are present here today. So it's a matter of perception.
And how would you describe the current relationship with the UN?
The relationship with the UN is good. Overall, it has always been good. Mali has been a member of the United Nations since its independence. The United Nations has been present in our country up until the establishment of MINUSMA. After the departure of MINUSMA, Mali now has a framework for collaboration with the United Nations funds, agencies, and programs that work in the fields of development, humanitarian aid, and also on the political level. We maintain a constructive dialogue with the United Nations in order to help it work towards achieving its objectives. But for countries like Mali, from now on, we do not rely on international forces to ensure security in our country. We have decided to rely on ourselves and also to always extend a hand to others who wish to support us.
Even if there are threats, for example, coming from the northern regions?
Oh, the issue of the northern regions is also something that needs to be put into perspective. A few years ago, Mali had practically lost half, if not 40%, of its national territory. Since the departure of international forces, Mali today has regained the entirety of its national territory. Kidal, for example, which is one of Mali's regions, was beyond the control of the state until about a year and a half ago. Today, thanks to the efforts of the government and the Malian Defense and Security Forces, Kidal has returned to the fold of the Malian state, and in many localities, the state has made significant efforts to bring back governors, prefects, basic social services, schools, and the justice system. So this requires a lot of resources, but there are still significant efforts being made in the north. And there is also an ongoing reconciliation process alongside the military effort aiming to foster understanding among all Malians.
I was also speaking more broadly about the region, so also about foreign countries in the north. Even in the face of this kind of threat that could happen, do you want Algeria involved or not?
Well, Algeria is a neighboring country to Mali, and we work with all our neighbors to ensure peace and stability. What Mali is asking is that our neighbors take a constructive approach toward our countries, that they stop interfering in Mali's internal affairs, and they stop supporting terrorist groups as well as separatist groups that attack and destabilize our country. Neighborly relations must be based on mutual respect. Our peoples, whether Algerian or from other neighboring countries' neighbors. We have historical ties. We are destined to live together. Mali operates on the basis of principles, so you cannot be a friend of Mali and at the same time have a hand in destabilizing our country. And this dialogue we will have with all our neighbors whose actions are marked by duplicity and the destabilization of our country. This is not acceptable.
If Germany decides to improve this relationship, what effort can you imagine making to move closer to joint projects?
We do not have a crisis with Germany, and despite the difficulties, cooperation with Germany is largely being maintained. In fact, on May 22nd, there will be German-Malian consultations held in Bamako. And as I said, Germany was the first country to establish diplomatic relations with Mali and has always maintained a fairly realistic approach to the situation. Even if the global geopolitical situation has had some impact on this relationship, but we remain confident, especially with the arrival of new leaders today at the head of the German state, with whom we have already had discussions this morning, that we will be able to work pragmatically to safeguard the interests of Germany and Mali, but above all, the interest of peace.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.